Greater Good Radio. Connect, learn, heal, and grow. If you could only take like one memory from your father, what would that be?
We had something we were pursuing, and this is professional, okay? And I, get in this zone, Evan, where I click into this mode where I'm pretty relentless when it comes down to pursuing an opportunity, especially an acquisition that I think would be fruitful for not just for us, but for our investors too. And I don't like checking with my dad often on this stuff. At that point, 4 or 5 years ago, he was already pretty slowing down as far as like the deals. But, I would talk to him about this because this one deal was causing me some angst. And I felt like I was not going to maybe not prevail on it. And he gave me great advice, which was, hey, BJ, like at that time I was driving my team really hard. And, I think for the most part, I'm a really good leader, but sometimes I can be overbearing and at times heavy-handed. I'm getting better at that. But my dad advised me, hey, listen, I think you're on too tight right now. And I think that not everything in the world depends on this. It's a great deal, but like you might want to just like let this one go. So my instinct was I'm probably not going to prevail. And my dad, who, he and I we're like samurai, right? It's in our blood. I mean, like we don't give up, right? We just fight. We're fighters. And at that instant, I realized that, I was compromising my health. I was compromising my relationships with some of my colleagues at work, my siblings, because of this strong pursuit of this one deal. And I was putting too much into it, Evan. And my dad gave me some advice to take a step back, right? Take a deep breath. You've accomplished a lot. You don't need to win every single one, Beach, right? And that talk we had, I'll never forget where we had it. It was on his lanai at Park Lane. And it really meant a lot to me. It's the first time in my life that he ever told me to ease up. My dad is usually someone who says, floor it, right? Go through the wall, get it done. All he cares about is results. That's what I thought. But in that instance, he was telling me, hey, BJ, I care about you. You're my son and I care about your health and you're working too hard and you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Take a step back. And that conversation, Evan, it's interesting. That probably was the first time I started thinking about 50%, 50-50 at 50 years old. That conversation we had at the very beginning of this podcast. So I just realized that was probably the first time that crossed my mind. So that's certainly a more recent 4 or 5 years ago, not so recent, but recollection of an experience with my dad that I value a lot.
Before you said that doing the deals, the drive, it's in your DNA, it's in your blood. Do you think that came from him? And then at that moment when he kind of validated that, hey, you know what, you have some things that are more important, that kind of gave you the internal okay.
Yeah, the signs were already there. I wasn't as good a dad, a father to my daughter and my son as I wanted to be. I think I wasn't performing there at all very well. I was trying, but not doing a good job. And then I wasn't at that time investing in my health. And so I think that my dad and my mom, in each their own way, right? My mom sent me a book. She had a little inscription on the inside cover, and she had some very, very meaningful words to me at that time. And so I think that him sitting me down on the lanai 4 or 5 years ago, and then that inscription in that book, I think that those were very meaningful to me. And when you have great family and great friends, those are the kind of benefits you can get, right, from having great people around you.
It's almost like a rite of passage, right? Like, I mean, that's almost like closing of one chapter and opening of another, but kind of, where that constant relentless pursuit just to accomplish, and I have to get it done no matter what, or harakiri, it can be kind of, it's okay. It's okay to be you. It's just okay.
And coming from him was a big deal because, my dad does not give advice in longer than 5 or 6 words. He speaks pidgin. He doesn't speak perfect English. He's a man of few words, but super smart. My son reminds me so much of my dad, really bright guys. And coming from him at that time, it meant a lot to me because I'm just built the way he is. And in my career, I've struggled with, I just don't know how to stop. Like I'm relentless when it comes down to pursuing success and prevailing in acquisitions and getting good results for our investors. It's super, super important to me, right? And so coming from him at that time, it was meaningful.
If you resonate with Greater Good Radio, please join our community at www.greatergoodradio.com, where you can get access to exclusive content and offerings. Hope to see you soon.